Alrighty, howdy folks. Just doing a quick little tutorial on a simplified version way to EQ a mix. Obviously with DJing, there's not really any rules per se. Obviously, I say the only rule with an EQing a mix together of a long smooth mix of a couple of house, progressive, techno kind of tunes, you want it to sound good. Part of making a mix sound good is utilizing the channel faders to adjust your volumes and the EQs to take parts of tracks in and out so that you get a smooth blend without spiking your volume levels too drastically. I've seen a couple of tutorials online where the DJ was starting the new mix basically with like 90% of the entire track EQ'd out, and then constantly throughout the mix these little adjustments up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And it was, to me, it was kind of like excessive. You're almost like micromanaging a mix together. It's not saying it didn't sound smooth, but it just kind of overcomplicates it. And if you pick your tracks right, you can create more fuller sounding mixes by not being so drastic on your EQing, leaving more of the track in. So with progressive, deep, housey kind of sounds, key harmonics is fairly important. You want to be playing with tracks that have supporting complementary kind of keys so that when there's melodies around, they're not sounding horrible together. So it doesn't work for every track, obviously, because different tracks have different levels of bass or highs or mids. So experiment, but simply put, I starting a mix, I've got my mids, so my lows EQ'd down to about 9 o'clock on the dial, so that it's still there, but not really there. The highs just buttoned off to sort of somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock. So you don't have too much of the high-end melodies and the snares and the hi-hats all happening together. And then I just wait for the right phrase points within the track that's playing to take an element of that away as you introduce more of the element of the other track. It creates a bit more of a well-rounded mix, and your changes are a bit more dynamic, a bit more dramatic. So they have a bit more impact rather than this constantly tiny little subtle movements where you don't really notice much has changed from one track to the other. So I'm mixing between a couple of freebie downloads of SoundCloud, which I'll put into the comments so you can download them and have a play around if you like the sounds of them. A track by Swaso called Keep Balance, and Keenan Souvran rework of the classic Nothing by James Holden and Julie Thompson. So let's get into it. We'll start this one and then just wait for the right phrase point so that all the changes happen at the same time, because obviously that makes his mix sound better as well. So here we go. Subtle with the fader as you bring it in. They can just sit like that. You just let the tracks be together until you get a nice change point to swap them around. Swap the highs over. nicely in phrase right as nothing has the first mini breakdown. It's this exact same point that keep balance really strips the rest of its elements away. And keep balance will end right as nothing drops in. A little bit of an echo. Boom. Simple but effective. So I've also got a link to my SoundCloud where it's just the clean audio from the mixer. So you can hear that without the noise coming from the speakers or me talking over it. Yeah, cool. I hope this helped. Thanks.